Hello, everybody. This is Politics at Home with Holmes. There's a lot of these episodes lately because, again, politics doesn't end. But today we have another very special friend of our families, Mahmoud Mourra, and he is running for Ward 10, also in our Calgary City Councilor. So we're going to pick his brain, ask him all of his deepest, darkest secrets and why he's doing this. And we're looking forward to this because this is actually, he is a very, very busy man. I want to say almost busier than in our family. So we actually haven't gotten a lot of time to one-on-one understand what motivates this man and why is he choosing to run for city councilor as opposed to other positions.
So we are just as much in the position of
Yeah.
you, the audience, as anyone else because we get to have this experience to get to know him a bit more and understand more of his story, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, and that's where we want to start really is Mahmoud, for you to introduce yourself. Who are you? Are you a pleb in Calgary? Have you been a long time politician? Like, what's your history that has brought you here?
Well, thanks, girls, for having me. I really enjoy being with you. I really enjoy every time meeting you guys, and I believe you are the future of this city, the future of this province. And I really encourage every young man and woman to follow your path because you're very active, you're very productive, and you're very helpful. I've seen you in many events from Next Gen and so many other events that are trying to do the best for our city and our province and our country. As a person who I am Mahmoud Mourra, a Calgarian by choice. I chose this city to live and love in it and enjoy every moment of my life being in it. For the past 25 years, I came to it as an immigrant from Lebanon. I'm a father of five kids, proudly of them, and I'm so happy for them to live in this heaven we call home, which is Canada. As I said, I'm Calgarian by choice. I tried Montreal. Tried many other places around Canada. As an immigrant, like many other people who came to this country, I fall in love with this city and I decided to be here. And I've been for the past 25 years living in the northeast of Calgary. Am I a politician? Absolutely no. Have I ever thought about it? Absolutely not.
Oh,
I
wow.
would never. I would never imagine myself talking politic. I'm a
Mm.
guy who speaks his mind, tells the truth the way he see it. I could be wrong, I could be right, but I know at that moment when I say something, I mean the truth the way I see it in front of my eyes. What led me to run for office? Because I'm sick of career politicians who run from check to check and sit
Mm.
in their office and talk to us only in 4 year terms when they have much attention to listen to us when they come and knock our door.
Mm.
But when we need their help, when we need their support, or we need their assistance, it might take us time and effort even to get their email
Mm,
reply to our email when we send them thousands of emails.
Mm-hmm.
I decide to speak the people's language. I'm not a politician who receive a check. I'm a businessman, and thanks to this country and this city and this province, give me the opportunity to become the person who I am. I'm a businessman, a business owner, as I said, father of five, and I do have more than my five kids. I do have six employees who working for me with their family, so I have to maintain their family uh,
Mm.
food on the table and stuff by signing their paycheck every 2 weeks. And I know
Mm-hmm.
what responsibility looks like. I know what accountability look like when I need to hold my employee responsible if they lack of their duty, and I need to maintain my business and sustain it and prosper it. This is who I am. At the same time, I believe in freedom. I believe a person he has to decide what to do in his life based on his choice, not forced or bullied by someone else. As many of you know, what our province has been facing for the past 10 years, our city as much.
mm.
And do we see any changes? Absolutely no, from worse to worse on a daily basis. And I do feel for you guys, young ladies or young men out there, if you decide to go buy a house, to buy a car, how much you're going to have a struggle to
Mm.
build your own family, to build your own house and establish your own life. And what pushed me more into it to decide to jump into the political arena, as you know, my oldest boy, he got married in May 17th, and I see the struggle, how much he's facing, him and his wife, to establish a life, to buy
Mm.
a house, to buy a car. They have to do so many work and so many jobs. while some of our politicians driving their Mercedes or their BMW and Audi, cruising around and telling us all those fake, empty promises, making us listen to what we want to listen, and at the end they do the opposite behind the closed door.
Mm.
I decided to jump into the arena. I do believe after we were successful, and thanks to you and many people like you in Alberta, that the government of Alberta recognized us parent. That's something we concern about, which is our kids. They stand for our right, and they produce or they present the parental bill of right. And this one, due to the effort of every parent, every concerned citizen in this province and around the nation. And I am proudly, I was the ignition behind the Leave Our Kids Alone campaign or 1 Million March in Calgary, which has led the whole country to stand for our kids, made me believe how important it is to deal with politics, interact with politicians, and get them to understand and see what we need to get done. And based on this, I decided to throw my hat in the political arena, and not as a politician, as a concerned citizen who willing to do anything he can to help young lady like you and her, a young man like other guys that was on the street, to provide them with every possible way they could build themselves without stressing about all the card, all about the student loan, and about so much city tax or property tax, and the rest you guys know. And that's why I'm gonna try and be the voice of you to let those politicians know there's accountability, and people will hold us accountable if we don't do what we're supposed to do as politicians.
I personally very much resonate with that, because even what you saying that for a politician to be accountable, they have to be responsible and feel responsible for others. And since you're a business owner and you write the checks to your employees, you know that people are counting on you. And that's same pressure, like that's a natural, healthy, as if you have a due date, for your homework, that kids feel. They're like, oh my gosh, the due date's coming up. Well, you feel that on a regular for other people's livelihoods, and politicians are supposed to feel the exact same thing, because they are literally managing the money and the finances for people's livelihoods. So you, speaking from experience and taking your business mindset straight into the politician's realm, it isn't some fancy, whimsical words that, oh, I'm going to be responsible and accountable to my people, because we've heard that time and time and again. But you even giving the real life experience about what you have to do as a business owner in Calgary, you have that experience and you're going to implement it because you already know what that feels like. So if that were ever to leave you in your political realm, then you know what the sensation is, like, oh, I'm putting my responsibility down too much, and then you got to pick it back up. So that's really interesting.
It sounds like as well that what made you primarily, because I was curious, what made you primarily want to get into it now? Like, why now as opposed to other potential times? And in part, you were answering that in the sense of where it's like your son and his newly wife are trying to figure out how to get their feet off the ground, and they're having a really hard time. And I find that quite admirable. We were like, well, I feel like I could help them on an individual level as their parent as well, but I feel like they're not the only ones, and there's something admirable to that, where you're just like, I feel a certain responsibility for the fact that it's like, I know that it's not just my kids that are having this problem, and so to not like put words in your mouth, but like, what is it that you feel is what got you specifically to want to start now? And also, why specifically a city councilor? Like, why as opposed to all the other political positions where it's like, could have been going for a school board trustee or something different? Why city councilor?
Thank you, ladies. I really appreciate your effort and getting a different platform. I know you guys spent some time, and having the time to spend in your beautiful Sunday with me and help me to deliver my voice and what my idea. So again, like I said, city councilor, that's what we cover. What's day to day operations that normal Calgarian resident Calgarian face on a daily basis, from like city street to the sidewalk your student could walk on to school every day, to the parks, to that stuff that affect the daily life of every Calgarian.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe to have a better society, you have to maintain the social fabric of every families. And nowadays, I do believe not everybody like Holmes family. Well, you guys have a mother and a father look after you. You guys working together, thinking together, and facing the challenges, because I know many of you are working so hard to maintain the lifestyle you guys want to live. But how many single mom are out there? How many single father are out there? How
Mm.
many kids out there are in need for support and assist? And this is where we need to kick in and try to build a society or a city that care about the human life more than it cares about something else. And
Mm-hmm.
I do believe if I have the ability to give the peace of mind to every mother and every father at home, their kids will live in ease, in peace, and they'll be able to perform better, produce better, and they'll be able to be a great citizen, not to fall into the illegal activity, drugs, what so on. And especially, this is the major issue we have in the Northeast Calgary, or the part of the Northeast of Calgary. I decided to run for city councilor because I do feel the struggle of every parent who is fighting so hard to keep the food on his kids' table, to pay the property tax, to worry about the insurance bill, especially we get hit almost every year with hailstorm or hail damage to our properties from cars, homes, and so on. And I do believe our politicians are good at saying what they want to say every 4 years once to deliver to us when they want to run for office again, to make us listen to them. And I do believe city councilor is the closest way to interact with public on a daily basis, to talk to them, to listen to them. And first thing for the person to talk to is his city councilor when he face a challenge in his neighborhood. And I
Mm.
decided to start at this level to see what I could learn. Like I said, I'm not politician. I never been studying politics. I am a man who built his business, learned about this country from experiences when I immigrated to it, and how much lovely the city was and how bad it's getting from 25 years till today. This
Mm.
city changing dramatically every day from bad to worse on a daily basis. Forget like yearly. Everything, every day we have a different challenge. And I'm sick of seeing construction site taking a place every 4 years once when there's election year coming. So to
Mm.
get people to show the city hall is working, and they do rely on our memory, short memories, that we do forget. They did abuse us for the past 3 years with all this increasing sky rocket taxes and so on, and they're trying to distract us with minor things. Policing and what, having more funding for the authority to monitor and secure
Mm.
in our area. That's something I really advocate for, because I do believe the police is doing their job as much as they can. But if the city doesn't give them the ability in the fund to do more effort and to send more unit to secure this area and to make this area safe and secure, the drug dealer will be lose on the road to destroy our future's life, our kids' life. And there's many other things. I could carry on and on and on. And honestly, we need more than 24 hours to discuss what's going on. But I
Mm.
do believe we have so much in Northeast Calgary green space that never been utilized for our kids to play on and to have their fun and their time. We don't have high educational facilities like many other places. We
Mm.
don't have outdoor swimming pool. There's a lot of things we don't have. And the easiest place for us to run, we need to run either to Prairie Winds or to Confederation Park. Why don't we have park in our own riding? We're 11 riding like any other place in the city. Many of our residents are construction workers, seasonal workers. They do work so hard in the working season in winter time. Each and every one of them invest in his lifestyle, in his house, to maintain his neighborhood, while the city neglecting us, ignoring us, and not paying the same attention to Northeast Calgary like they do to other riding. With that being said, I do believe whole city of Calgary has been neglected by the politicians that have been running the city for the past 10 years.
I love the specificity to your ward. That was something that even stuck out to me on your beautiful website, which I'm going to pull up just so people can take a gander, because you have all of these talking points about kind of where your values are and your goals. But even when I went to your story here so I could get some background, and you talk specifically about in the Northeast, Ward 10. I love how you even list the places. So you have Abbeydale, Coral Springs, Marlborough Park, Malin Heights. You put all of the places inside of your ward so people can't miss it. Where if you're in one of these areas, this is who you can vote for. And then you put the specific things that you believe you're lacking, the youth spaces, the leisure center, like you alluded to, the parks, and then even alluding to the crime rates. um I find that very transparent. You talked about being accountable and transparent earlier, but even to talk about stuff like that, because a lot of people think, okay, either one, defund the police because they don't do their jobs. But we were reading, there's a financial report on potential Alberta policing in the future, and it costed a little bit more. And so I was thinking, oh, that should be a good thing though, because right now we're ineffective. Like, I know we're talking about Calgary, but even down to your local ward level, looking at the funding, it does need some better allocations and more attention, as you're saying, because you can't just expect it to go in a nice direction when you don't have these follow-ups and you don't have the funding and putting attention to it. And that's interesting also for you to address in your specific community, because I feel like most politicians want to ignore that aspect. They might talk about the homeless, maybe, or they'll do it in a very empathetic way. It'll sound nice, like, oh, we want to help our homeless people, but they won't address some of the problems and the hands-on that needs to happen to actually prevent further homeless or the further drug addicts, and you putting emphasis both on the family to help with that, because as we know, most people that end do using drugs, it's because they have broken homes and stuff like that, so it's a downstream consequence. But your emphasis on family, and then looking at the crime in your area and going, no, we need to be accountable, that this is something that has been going on for a while, and ignoring it or blaming other people. It's like, you can do that, but we just need to fix it now.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely agree with you. And I can't add more than what you said because technically you reflect what I want to say. Maybe I could add a little bit more detail. The problem wasn't going on for the past 5 years, 10 years. I believe the existence of Calgary started with this problem and it's been in the same place, running from day to day, from board to board, from city hall council to another council, and we're repetitive. The solution, it's only empty promises from politician comes and politician goes. How many of them deliver or work hard to diffuse or isolate this problem? Literally not much. We could look at the bigger picture, but it's so beautiful from far, but when you get too close to it and see all the detail and what's going on in our livelihood, society, or areas or community, the destruction is bad. Homeless people exist in the city of Calgary more than any other places, and now in 2025, way more than it was in 2002 or 2003. And there is a reason because of this. And I do believe we could invest more into the human to build a better society. And like what you said, I'll be honest with you, if you have a safe home, doesn't matter, it's a tent or a castle. You have a secure and safe home, you come into it. You trust the bed you sleep on. Next day, you're going to wake up, you go to work with full energy to do things. But when you have an unstable home, regardless where you live in, doesn't matter what it is, and you have a stress about what's tomorrow, when you open that mailbox, how many bills I need to pay. Because I do believe that mailbox, we shouldn't call it mailbox in Calgary. We should call it a stress box, because every time you open it, you need to choose which bill you need to pay first, and sadly, and which one you're gonna deal with, handle first. And this is happening on a daily basis. How could we relieve these families from this stress, from this pressure to do better? How could we offer them more stuff when they walk out of their home on a Sunday or Saturday to take their daughter or their son to a park to enjoy some time? And at the same time, I want to talk about the special need communities that have been ignored. And here I want to talk about it not because I want to give empty promise. This is something we should feel for the special need person or the special person, because I don't call them special needs. They are special with their family because they're facing a lot of challenges. And sadly, we are so materialistic now. When we want to call for an emergency environmental state in Calgary, while we have so many people living in a city street with no home, with no shelter, or you could see those tents in every green space we have of people, they have no place to go. There's a problem. There's a problem. We're not seeing the reality. We're building high rise towers while we have so many people dying in the bottoms of that building because they have no place to shelter themselves from a minus 50 or from plus 50 in summer. They have no place to go eat and drink. And this is happening a lot. City police, I have I have all the respect for city police. At the end, they are our brothers and our sisters. Some of them could have a power trip in their mind and they abuse us somehow. But the majority of them, they're doing the best job they could do. Catch and release a story, letting this criminal out next day is something need to stop. It's not at my level, but it's something we all witness, we all see. We need to invest and support them and give them more power, not to abuse our community members or the new people who get into offensive and do something bad, just to secure and make our society safer for us to go and engage and live together in peace and harmony, not by defunding police. And I hear this method all the time. I think this is wrong, to be honest with you, because I do believe policing is an important thing of our life. And if a mother doesn't police her son to tell him don't do drugs, how to go to school, how to study, he won't be successful in his life. And why I say mother, because a mother is the main thing when it comes to the house. And you, young lady, understand how important is your mom to you. Mike is my brother, he's my friend, but doesn't matter what it is. I believe mother comes first.
Mm.
And that's why I do believe we need to tell those politicians out there, whatever they see, whatever they hear, it's true. So don't ignore it by just giving us false promise in an event here or event there, or come attend a festival here and festival there. Take some picture, fool us with a fake smile, and when you go home, you forget everything you were talking about because tomorrow another day, and this is what they do. And then majority of them, that's what they do.
Yeah, you're
Mm.
not exaggerating because me and Macy are so politically involved, as you generously alluded to. We have literally watched politicians come to events, get a photo, and
And then
then leave.
leave. They leave. It's
Literally within
yeah.
5, 10 minutes.
And they shake hands with their fellow politicians and then they
Mhm.
just they just go.
And something you don't miss, like the
Mm.
group picture. All the time,
Yeah.
let's take a group picture, let's
Yeah.
take a group picture. And trust me, if they see you next day in the streets, he's not going to remember that he saw you in that group picture. But
Yeah.
this is what it is. And if I tell you, if that politician sincere, look those politicians who've left office. If they have sincerity in their heart and they care about the community, you could help your community if you're in office or you're out of office. If you
Mm.
leave office, you
Mm.
still, when you meet people, you need to greet them, respect them, and show them the personality you have and how you care about them. Sadly, many politicians, when they leave office, you don't even recognize them. They don't even want to talk to you. They think they did the job. Public office work is not a gratitude, it's not a reward for a person to be in. It's a responsibility to carry, to think of everyone who represents you and who you represent him, of everyone you want to speak in his behalf. And this is something we need to teach our politician by hold them accountable, responsible, so we could have trust in them. Trust shouldn't be given to a politician based on empty promises, should be tested every day. When that politician
Mm.
doesn't deliver what he promised, we have the power to bring them down. And if politicians learn and know very well, the public, the main power, we, the people, could bring them down when they don't deliver what they promise us with, they will they will be afraid and they will obey and listen to us. And when I say obey, because it's not an option, they are in that position because of your vote, because of her vote. And this is something we need to change, because I tell you, if we go do a study today and see how many people of the public, regardless of which party they believe in, if they do trust a government or politician, I could tell you maybe 10 to 15% they say we trust politicians, the rest are going to say we don't.
Mm.
This is something we need to change the motto, put politicians in place. They change the aspect of politics to say something and do something else. Do what you say or don't do it at all. Don't run
Yeah.
for office.
It's nice because it reminds me like that it comes down to the level of the individual, right? And I think that if I'm hearing you correctly, it's like if you're going to be in a position of, I guess, technically service when you're a politician, right? Because you're in service to all of these other people. It's like if you don't have on that level of an individual basis just the ability to be like, have I been responsible for anything before? Right? Like, have I actually, like, do I take, like, how do I take care of my family? Is that going well? How do I take care of my work? Is that going well? And if you can't figure out how to, like, and of course everybody has their problems, but if you don't have that genuine love and wanting to make sure that that is house in order, right? Then it's like, how are you going to have an entire city's house in order, right? It's like,
Absolutely.
it doesn't work like that. And so I love how you're like, I'm starting from the level of the individual, and you're like, I feel like I haven't met your sons entirely, but I know that like based on the way that you talked about them when we went to the campaign as well, it's like you feel a huge responsibility for your family, and your community was so beautifully large and vast, and I loved it. And it's just that is what you hold to yourself. You're like, I'm responsible for all of these people. And so then you're like, well, and your job, it's like, I've done this before. Like, this is like, I know what to do and I know what I'm doing. And I know that's like, well, how could I apply that then to this position so that way I can do it for other people? I really find that admirable. And you were mentioning the even the policing and the problems with the crimes, and my brain just goes like, it's so frustrating because you wouldn't have so many people gravitating towards drugs or gravitating towards these vices if they weren't, or if they didn't feel like they were in a place where they needed to do it, in a place where they needed to cope. Because cope with what, right? It's like, oh, you can't afford a house, well, what's a good out? I'm just going to go take drugs now to make reality feel a little bit better because it's just so poor. It's like, I feel like you understand that, and you're like, no, like we need to better improve people's lives so we don't have to face all these downstream consequences, as if they actually just felt like they could have an opportunity to be prosperous and have a life for themselves.
That's actually something I kind of want you to comment on, Mahmoud, because that was one thing. So me and MayCee Mahmoud just had a recently, I was gonna call it like a coming out party. No, it's not a coming out party, but he was announcing and sharing the fact
like a
of his
campaign
candidacy. So it was just, people meeting to recognize and celebrate the fact that Mahmoud is now running as city councilor for Ward 10, and we were there, and Mahmoud gave a beautiful, beautiful speech. And one of the things that you really kept emphasizing was, I'll summarize it by saying blurring boundaries, because you said, yes, am I Lebanese, but I'm not running as a Lebanese person. And you're like, Muslim, sure, not running as this. You're like, I'm taking care of, because even our homeless, it's not one ethnicity of our homeless. We got whites, we got brown, we got all of them. We got all of them. It doesn't matter. We're all suffering alike right now. And you put that emphasis on every single community, even the fact that you're including the special needs community that is ever growing thanks to our medical community and some other medical procedures we don't need to talk about. But you've been emphasizing this blurring of boundaries regardless of ethnicity, but also political party. And that's something that what it reinforces what MayCee's appreciating about you is this look at individuality. But why is that your approach, and what resonates with you? What got you there? Why is this kind of like your mission? Why does that hit home for you, blurring these boundaries? Why don't you identify and run on, I'm this ethnicity and I'm a part of this minority and I identify as blah, 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 a conservative, a left, or the right? Why is this not your approach?
Because I do believe running for office is not to serve certain group or certain ethnicity or certain face. When I go there, I'm going to represent everyone, even the people I don't agree with their ideology, let's say, or their mentality. This is my job, and I believe this should be everybody's job and responsible position. We might not agree with everything in a personal level, but when it comes to be in a leadership position or a position that you're responsible, you have to look for the interest of each and every one of them. I want to tell you one thing. Yes, I am Lebanese. When I grew up in Lebanon, I was Lebanese. When I came to this country, I became Canadian. I became Calgarian, and I decided like to be in Calgary by choice, like I told you. But when I came from Lebanon, I ran away from corruption. I ran away from embezzlement. I ran away from oppression. And I know what this looked like. I know how it is when you want to face the challenges, because one person, he belonged to one tribe, and this tribe reflect my interests, support me, or this ethnicity, or this group of people. And this is what brought that country down, and many other country in the Middle East. I don't like this practice, neither there, so I don't like it here. And I know the outcome of that practice of favorite some group over other, what led people to. and it destroyed these countries, destroyed them even till this day. In 2025, we have some country in the Middle East, they have the richest resources, but they have no ability to prosper and to move ahead and to achieve a lot of objective in life. And their citizen trying to line up in front of the embassy of each Western country to seek a refugee or an immigration report or application to seek a better place to could live with their family. I was lucky and fortunate to live in this country and to come to this country. I consider myself a newborn, and I decide that bad experience I witnessed with my own eyes firsthand how led my country to be corrupted and to be divided based on higher level, lower level, who you belong to, who you talk to, which your party, which this, which that. I would never experience it here because I know the outcome of it is to brought a country down, and I don't want it here. Yes, I'm a Muslim by faith. It's between me and God. Yes, I'm a Lebanese. That's where I came from. I respect my dad. He gave me my name. I honor him so much, but I want to look for a better future for my son. So the best thing to do is this for my son, and I say it now, I'll say it, I said it before. I could call myself, I'm a Lebanese Canadian, but my son, he will call himself Canadian. Maybe he could call himself Canadian Muslim, but for sure, my grand grandson, only God knows what he's going to call himself.
Mm.
So I cannot control, but my job is the only thing to control is how to provide a safe environment, a safe society for them to stay. Because I know what does it look like to run away from a corrupted system, and that's why I like this city and in this province to stay safe, to stay secure, and to trust the system we are living in. And we as citizens live the best life we could live, so we could produce and like contribute into a society, and we feel appreciated. We're not like a slave was hidden chain, because I believe many of us Calgarian nowadays were just a slave was hidden chain, and we need to do something about it.
Why have you chosen to run independently? Like, because there are other methods. There's a couple different political parties that Calgary have created as of recently. So, is that a decision you made last minute? Is it something you pondered for a bit? What does that look like for you?
I'll be honest with you. I decision to run independently. Actually, I decided to run almost after my son's wedding in May 17 because the idea never came to my mind. After May 17, that's when I determined. I seen what's going on, how things going sideways. I decided to run. I didn't contact any of the party, and something I can't hide. I am a member of ABC Party, and then I was on the board for Calgary Cross, or the area where I am in running now, or worked then. And there's some stuff I witnessed. I didn't feel I didn't feel I could work with the board I was on, so I decided to resign from a secretary position I took for a short period of time. And I have good relation with all the parties, and even with ABC Party. I have nothing against them. I have nothing against anyone. I didn't have a chance to talk to anyone that's to run under a party or no. So I submit my nomination, and I did talk to a couple of friends, even though I've been approached to run under certain party, and I I didn't say yes, I didn't say no. I left it up to the floor to see how things could go. And as of now, my decision is still holding the same place. I'm running on my own as a dependent candidate because I don't want to promise something I cannot deliver. And I know parties would hold your decision in the future. And the main reason for me, I want to be a free person, because if my word resident have some idea or some decision they want to be in their favor, and that party I'm gonna represent goes against that decision, I don't want to be a hypocrite to tell them something and do something else. So I want to be a person who stand with his base, with his people, and represent them in the best shape and form by promise them what I'm going to do, not by promise them something and doing something else.
Well, it makes me think because me and Maddie have actually interviewed some people who are running under the A Better Calgary party. But what's interesting to me is the fact that it's like Keener, he was the one that we interviewed for our ward because he's running for Ward 14, Keener Hashi. And
we're on our ABC
we're
board.
on our ABC board
Yeah.
too, right? And so I was asking him, I was like, why ABC? And to him, he felt the same way that you did, in the sense where he was just like, I don't like the idea of parties. I would rather
Party
be
whip, yeah.
of a party whip. I would rather be an independent, because then I don't want to be like, oh, you have to vote this way, or like this is the way that it's going to go, right? And he was like, I don't want to do that. And of course, only time will tell, because the party's relatively new, right? So
Yes.
we got to give it its time
More time.
under the sun, you know what I mean? It's got to figure out how it's going to fly, you know what I mean? So it's like right now it's a little seedling, and we'll see how it sprouts. But at the moment, it's like we're even us being on the board, we're gonna obviously see if it adheres to that, because even the party itself, it has principles, right?
Yes.
It doesn't have necessarily like, here's what policies you need to follow. It's more like, do you have these basic common sense values? Okay, great. And then they say that you have free range to go forward and do what it is that you'd like to do. And then hopefully, it plays out that way. And then we will be obviously your backing to help prop you up to see you succeed. And so it's like, I was all for that, in the sense of like, I wanted to be a part of helping grassroots people and helping people like yourself who wanted to get involved to help prop them up. And so I completely respect your decision to also want to run independent, because it's the same reason that even Keener wanted to do so. But of course, it'll be fun, because if both of you actually ended up getting elected, that would be A, fantastic, and B, you guys can talk to each other about it. Then you can be like, oh yeah, like this is how it's going with ABC, and then you could be like, oh yeah, here's how it's going to be independent. And I think that would be wicked. I'd be happy if both of you got in. But yeah, so it's like, we'll just see how it goes, but I understand for sure.
Yeah, these are some of the principles on the website. I don't know if you've ever looked at this, Mahmoud, but it was interesting because Keener said that like these are the principles of the party, which you've actually touched on most of them today anyway. So I don't really need to go over this because you talked about transparency, accountability, you talked about family and fundamental rights and all of that jazz. So you've done exactly what ABC agrees with, which is what we agree with. So awesome sauce. The cool thing about the ABC party that I learned was the fact that they don't force you, you don't have to toe a party line. You can, as long as you adhere to those principles, which is like honestly every human being should adhere to those principles. Then that's what makes it you eligible to be and supported by said party. That way you have like a good foundation, a backup. But you don't have to do policies that they believe with. That way you can do and run your own policies, which you have laid out on your website, via what you talked about with taxes to be more responsible fiscally and help the younger generation come up. And I do understand what MayCee said with the struggles too about the ABC party up and coming, because even on our board, Ward 14, we're one of the bigger boards. And we aside from the summer, we meet monthly. But I got information recently that we're one of the only boards that do that regularly. We're consistent. People show up and we talk and we're actually working together. And we've had some of the other people that are in higher positions of the party say, yeah, you guys have it good, because some of the other ward boards, they're actually struggling because of participation and stuff like that. Because even getting involved as you are, Mahmoud, on the city level municipally, it's not as bedazzling as the provincial or federal politics. It's not as dramatic, and it doesn't have all of the eyes of the media and stuff like that. So that's one thing that we have been definitely struggling with on the municipal level, is trying to get people to pay attention and care as much as you have shown about municipal politics, even though it is stuff like street level. But you still have to look at the money management, and you have to look at crime in your city, and you have to consider how is your community affected by family rights and parental rights, as you alluded to. One of the things that you have threaded throughout this whole conversation, even at the very beginning, you alluded to the next gen, which is something we attended a couple years back. Next gen was we're a bunch of youth getting together in the Conservative Party, as they would define it anyhow, to try and get youth involved. And then you alluded to the fact that you led the Million March for kids, and that me and MayCee were also there with our good friend Cyril, who actually spoke at it at the rally that you led in Calgary. the kids are the future, which you've really driven home. And that's one thing that even on your website, talking about your family, the fact that that was your launch point, it was right after. Because Keener, when we talked to him, he said, actually, yeah, I considered running, way back when in 2020 or something like that. It was like years ago. And you were like, no, it was right after my son's wedding. I went, oh, shoot, I need to do something because they're struggling to make this decision. So do you want to comment on that?
Yes, I'd love to. Let me tell you one thing. It's main important thing for us when you see a problem to do something and to get it done. And I don't want to underestimate anyone's job, from the janitor in school
Mm.
to the prime minister of this country.
Mm.
There's something we need to learn as a human. If you want to do a job, try to do it perfect. Try to do it to the best ability you could do, and don't wait for the compensation, how much you're getting paid. Do
Mm.
it to represent your ethic, your mentality, and your effort and your ideology of how doing thing great. Sadly, I want to answer you about the ABC party and the board and stuff. Many of us don't understand when you commit to something, you need to understand what to do,
Hmm.
how to engage with people. When you run in a board, these are volunteer jobs. These people come in because the first thing, the intention in their heart, they want the betterment for the society. Do we agree with them or we don't? This is a different topic. But that person, as a volunteer, opens the door and coming to tell you, I want to help you, or I want to be with you, or assist you. This is good enough for you to welcome him, understand how to work with him, and deal with him all along. And I do respect all the value and principle ABC Party hold because I told you I'm a member. In fact, I'm one of the founder, whatever you call it, that founder membership.
Yeah.
So I was proudly happy to see it happening. And we have very good motive to go. And as you know, personal ego got in, another party got formed to kind of divide the effort of the ABC party. And this is
Mm.
something we shouldn't be shy and hide. And I really recommend you guys, if you have sometime one day, trying to invite people and interview them about working in a board, in a committee, how important it is, like a CA board and stuff, how to work as a board director and stuff. Because I could see so many CA board are effective and so many are there for the interest of one candidate and one
Hmm.
politician. And this is bullying the society and the
Yeah.
community and will demolish the effort of the party of the growing and being transparent and effective and productive. This is in this level. Based on me deciding after my son's wedding, this is what led me in 2023 when I saw that kids in Calgary in Edmonton school got bullied by a teacher for him not participating in a Pride Month.
Mm.
Josh Alexander was before. Derek Reimer got arrested because he attended a drag show in a library after 3 days, and he's still facing challenges there now. I felt our community getting bullied, getting. When I say our community, us straight people, I have nothing against gay or lesbian. Do whatever you want to do. Say whatever you want to say. Love whoever you want to love. If you're an adult, you have the right to jump over the cliff, to fly, act like a bird. It's your choice. Don't go into minor kids and student in school and
Mm.
push your ideology on them.
Mm.
As a Muslim, I don't want anyone to come teach my son about Judaism or Christianity, and I don't want to go teach anyone's son or daughter about my Islamic faith. It's
Mm.
the same thing. What's your sexual preference or identity? It is yours. There's no reason to implement it and push it into someone else's life under any banner or whatever reason it is. And I do believe no matter what, neither one of you, a mother could love you more than your mom is. No matter what kind of teacher taught you in school or what kind of professor taught you in university, he will forget your name. If not today, after 5 years, he will remember your face, but he will forget your name. But trust me, your mom or your dad will never forget you. Doesn't matter, name, face, and how you look, even after 20 years. This is a blood relation. That's why nobody could displace it or place it by some fake title. I decided in 2023 to stand up for that kid because we got fed up from the ideology, getting bullied everyone, and especially a 9 years old kid, to be bullied the way they bullied him in a school in Edmonton. And
Mm.
I rallied. And honestly, I'm going to tell you this is something nobody could control the result. We could control the effort. When I called for protest in June
Hmm.
6th, I have some friend of mine, we were worried. We were thinking about 300 people will be protesting. September 20, we have over a million Canadians standing on the street to chant all alone, leave our kids alone. And this thing went international from state to
Yep.
Spain and stuff. And we all know after September 20th, there's a big incident happened in the Middle East. As of today, I still believe there's no coincidence in life. Something been planned and we filled up the gap, bringing people together. Someone decided to do something as big to divide the society, the community, because I do believe there's upper power. They don't want us people to talk. They don't want us people to be united, to seek what's better for our society. They decide to divide us based on something we don't have nothing to do with, and to fill that hate into our heart, to argue with each other and stuff like this. And but thank God we were successful. With your effort, with your parents' effort, with many other parents' effort, there's a bill of right to protect the kids up till 16 years old here in Alberta. Thanks to the government of Alberta, I have to say this, and thanks to every parent who stood up with us. Thanks to every free human being has a kid, doesn't have a kid, even to the LGBT community who take a stand with us against this. Ideology been taking place into our kids' school to confuse them more than to educate them. And this is something I always say. I used to believe there's two gender, male and female. I just like to see someone trying to educate me and teach me what's the difference between the two gender and the 152 plus gender they trying to tell our kids is about. I don't know what is it. I don't have the answer. I'm a 53 years old man. I love someone from your screen to come and help us one day to understand this, because I'm struggled to understand it. And this is the reason I push, and I do believe we have to do the best job we could do as a human being to protect our kids and the future of this country. And you guys, your generation is the future of this country, and our job to protect you, to give you the best chance and best environment to produce more, to have all the ability to succeed and to guide us to have a prosper city, a prosper province. And if you guys have the proper equipment, the proper tools, I believe you will do it. We need to stop that confusion coming against you.
I think the final question, I guess, would be like, what is some final remarks that you would like to leave people off with, as well as where they can find and support you? And then I was also wondering if, so I don't know whether or not you've put much thought into this, because some candidates have and have not, because we know Keener Hashu, and we're interviewing him again. He was thinking about running way sooner than even yourself, which is totally okay. And so when we were asking him, he actually had, I guess, a bit of a list, if you will, of policies that he himself, or kind of ideas of how he would like to go about fixing some of the problems that irked him the most. And he's a financial guy. So he was like, I don't want people wasting other people's money. He was like, so I would do like a zero-based budget. And he was kind of going off on like how it is that he would like to do that. I guess a little bit of a link to people to go check him out as well. But so it's like, you may or may not have put much onto it, and that's totally okay, because that's what you're trying to figure out and you're trying to learn.
He totally has. I've read his website.
So it's just like final thoughts, final ideas that you hope that will be your problems that you feel the most convicted to solve, and then where people can help find and support you.
First thought, I want to encourage you guys to run. Find a place you might fit in, and I'm not joking about it. This is what you need to learn to do. Volunteer as much as you can. The person you volunteer today, he might be the prime minister tomorrow, or you might be the prime minister tomorrow. Get involved, participate, engage, get to build networking. You're the future of this country. And I'm telling you, when you see a politician in position for 20 plus years and he has no success to talk about, he better go and hide, because he's not a successful politician. I'll be honest with you. Let's not joke about it. You've been in position for 21 years, and all your success is to run a campaign and win every election. Then there's issue with you, brother. And the biggest issue is with people who supporting you in that mission. From there, about me, what's my policy? I do identify the problem, because a blind person cannot see those problems exist in our city, because they've been there for the past 50 years. We've been talking about them, and every politician talks about them. My policy is to be transparent and be responsible. And yes, I need to learn all the detail, and you cannot give a solution without knowing the exact problem, the root of cause of that problem. And for me to come and say I want to fix that door when I don't have a key for it to open it in the first place, I won't be able to. I want to open that door. I want to see what's inside that door, what's the problem with the hinge, to determine if I fix it or I cannot fix it, or time to replace it. And I'm a person of a state, I say all the time, something you cannot change, you must break. Some things that difficult to fix, we have to replace. This is something we need to do. This is my mentality, and this is what I'm going for. At least if I cannot fix the problem, I'm going to tell people, here's the problem, and this
Right.
is what we need to do together. Because I do believe is the first option for people to do things is for the people to determine what they want to do of anything they want of this life, or like their neighborhood lifestyle kind of thing.
I like that. It reminds me of a quote that was, and this is so stupid. It's just a Marvel movie, but it was like two men were talking to each other, and they're like, one of them was saying, "Well, what if we lose?" And then one of them answered saying, "Then we'll do that together too." And it reminds me of how our family works in the sense where my mom and dad would always be like, if we were kids and they can't stop asking questions, so we'd be like, "Well, why?" They would be like, they weren't ashamed to say, "I don't know, but we'll find out together." And I love how that's what your mentality is going into this, which is that if I don't know, we're going to figure it out together. I really appreciate that.
No problem. I like to add with one thing, and I do believe uh, community is not just about individual. Individual is part of a community, and he reflect the interest of that community. If we work together and
Mm.
we have a social and very good communication link to work together, understand each other, we will be able to do better. We'll be able to do way stronger thing, a way more effective thing. That part-time politician is the biggest problem we have in our life. The politicians, they only add this politic when they meet you to say what you want to say. But how many times did you see a politician come to you and tell you, yeah, I see there's a problem in your door. I need to fix it now. They always tell you, tell me what you want. Buddy, you live with us. You see what we see, you listen to what we listen, and you face the same challenge we face. So don't act like you're living in a different universe. And many of them
Mm.
do. And this is where we have a
Mm.
problem. We have like isolation camps they put themselves into, not to see the reality we are living in. And time to remove that kind of divider from
Hmm.
between us for them to see what we see. And the main important part, talk to them the way you talk to anyone else because they're no better. They are like us, we are like them. And this is something of them holding themselves in a higher place need to kind of be wiped off a little bit. I know they're busy, some of them, and there's some of them dedicated politician. I cannot generalize, but there's some actually they are there for the position, not for the responsibilities they carry on when they decide to walk into their office.
I
Mm.
appreciate that. And Macy embodied that just the other day. We met, I think it was the Minister of Justice. Macy met him. And
I
she was
think it was
just,
at your campaign
it was,
party.
yeah, it was
Yes.
actually, and Macy just, she's like, "Hi, I'm the average pleb." And he just shook her hand. He's like, "Hi, average pleb." It was hilarious. Yeah, we definitely embody that because they're just people, like you said. And me and Macy do a lot of work on the brain, and we know that the great equalizer is the brain. Politician or not, doesn't matter what job you hold. Everybody's got a brain, so everybody can fall for the same things and fall for the same vices, and the same things drive us. So
Absolutely. You know what? If you treat them special, they think they're special. They're no
Mm.
special. They're like you and I. They eat, they drink, and they do the rest what we do. The only thing they assign themselves to a job more responsible than you and I. You want to carry responsibility of your home, of your room, of your cat. They decide to carry a responsibility for a neighborhood or for a province, for a city. But if we don't hold them responsible, they could get away with what they want to get away with, and nobody would hold them responsible. And that's what pushed me to run for position, to shed the light in many issues that we've been facing for ages, not for the past 20 years or so. Our problem has been ongoing from year to year, from like one government to other government, and we need to do something about it. And the best way to do is get you guys engaged, and you have to. You and many people are like you because the gray hair people should sit aside a little bit and give you the floor to dance. I could guarantee you're better dancers than us.
uh, I will take that on personally.
I only got to learn from the experience, though.
That's also true. Yeah. Who taught us how to dance?
Yeah.
We'll definitely work on that's one of my personal goals too, is like wanting to get people more on constituency associations. And now that ward associations are a thing, ward associations, just to, because it is, like you said, a volunteer position, and that does take time. Not as much time. It take as much time as you put into it, really. There are people where it's like they do a daily thing, so that's a lot of work. I don't have that kind of time. But a once a month meeting is not that hard in my perspective, just to keep a pulse on things. And then you throw a fundraiser event every once in a while. That way you can raise the money for people like you to do the things that you want to do, put it towards the policing or put it towards the infrastructure. On your website, you allude to infrastructure projects that would be needed, the green space projects. You even look at the C train, you look at all of the above. So with that said, where if people want to learn more about you or reach out to you,
or even if where they can go to find and help support you, because I know that you guys are definitely going to be looking for volunteers for this.
yeah,
Where can they go? Can they go to your website?
I have my website they could use, like info, I mean, mahmoudmourra.ca.
Mm-hmm.
I did that. Or they could visit our office. As of Monday, we have office here in Northeast Calgary. The address is 2635, 37 Avenue Northeast, Calgary, Alberta, Unit 105. It's a corner office right beside Habibi Banquet. And my campaign office phone number 825-521-2936. And I'm open to listen to any advice, to any recommendation. I'm here from the people to the people to help them and assist them. And I do believe together we could build a better society, a better community, and for sure a better city. And I hope I'll be able to deliver what I promise, because this is the main success for a person or for a man. When he promised something, he better does it.
Mm. Aw. Oh, I really appreciate that.
yeah, amen. Thank you
Amen.
so much for joining us.
Yeah, this was a pleasure.
Thank you, ladies. I'm really happy and excited, and I hope, like I said earlier, I hope one day see those young two Holmes ladies. I met them back in the days. Now one of them like Tucker Carlson, the other one like Candace, and man, you never know. Dream
Ooh.
that exists for us to achieve them and to get them done. Go get it.
Mm.
That's it. It will happen. And you guys
Aw.
doing great. I'll tell you that. God
Thank
bless you.
Thank you for
Oh, God
encouraging.
bless you too.
Yeah, no, yeah, wa alaikum assalam.
Mm.
See you guys. Thank you guys for joining us on At Home with Holmes.